Alright, give it to me. Yeah!
You're watching Cheap Thing versus Expensive Thing. The show where filmmaking gear is put to the financial test. Today, do you need an expensive boom pole or can a cheap broom handle do the trick? I'm your filmmaker host, Griffin Hammond. Today, I'm in New York City's Lower East Side, where I'm feeling especially professional right now because we have this fancy, nearly $600 K-Tek boom pole, when I normally just use a broom pole to do the same job. So let's find out if I really need to spend the money on an expensive boom pole by doing 3 tests: portability, ease of use, and sound quality. Boom poles are a funny thing to try out in the store because I'm finding some that extend up to 16 feet. But it's not just maximum length I want. I'm also looking for portability and a built-in XLR cable. This highly reviewed K-Tek Classic Series boom pole extends to nearly 9 feet, has a coiled XLR cable inside, and its 5 telescoping sections collapse to less than 1/3 its full length. And it's made of graphite, which is lighter than aluminum. To get all those features I'm looking for, it'll cost me $589, which is way pricier than what I currently have at home, a $10 aluminum broom handle. The DIY project for making this into a boom pole is simple. Drill a hole through it and use a 1/4-20 screw to attach a shock mount and microphone. If that's too complicated, just wrap tape around it to secure the mic. Both the broom pole and the boom pole are lightweight, but neither one is as portable as I'd like. The broom pole is 4.5 feet long, but even the collapsed boom pole is still too big to fit in a backpack or suitcase. For that reason, the broom pole might actually win on portability, because you don't need to travel with it. There's no reason to pack one when I can just buy a new broom handle at any hardware store in America. As far as effectiveness, you should know that either one works well as a cat toy. The broom pole is as uncomplicated as it gets, no moving parts. I just have to make sure the mic is tightly screwed on and that the XLR cable is wrapped or taped out of the way. My favorite part about the K-Tek boom pole is that the XLR cable is built in. That means no cord wrangling and no noise from a cable accidentally slapping against the pole. But one downside is sometimes it's difficult to collapse the boom pole fully because the coiled cable inside gets in the way. Or if you don't tighten the grips well enough, the uncoiled XLR cable acts like a stretched out spring, forcing the boom pole to suddenly collapse. I kind of wish these 4 grips were latches instead, something you could simply flip open or closed rather than screwing to tighten. But the real usability question is about weight. Which one is easier to use for an extended period of time? Before I add a microphone, the K-Tek graphite boom pole weighs 26 ounces. The aluminum broom pole is only 11 ounces, but of course I have to add a 10-ounce XLR cable. So for roughly the same weight, the K-Tek can reach twice as far. To test them out for comfort, my friend John and I attached microphones and shock mounts, and to control for torque, we shortened the K-Tek to 4.5 feet, same as the broom pole. Then we held them up for 2 minutes, in an intentionally uncomfortable position, not ideal boom operator form. Actually, it wasn't too bad, so let's switch. Another 2 minutes. Okay, so no significant difference in fatigue caused by either pole. Maybe this competition will come down to sound quality. I just want to take a quick moment to talk about my favorite microphone, the Azden 250CX. For its price point, at only $200, I'm pretty impressed by its sound quality. It's a really nice, compact microphone. It's kind of become my go-to for capturing natural sound, interviews, shots like this. It sounds really good. So you can check that out and all the other gear I use at griffinhammond.com/gear. Here's where I wondered if a professional graphite boom pole might have an audio advantage. I know from experience that microphone shock mounts are not foolproof. They don't eliminate every little tap. That's why it's so important to monitor audio with headphones, especially if you have an amateur handling the mic. You need to make sure their hand movements aren't introducing unwanted noises. So is there any reason to think a hardware store broom pole is any noisier than a graphite boom pole? So we have a little basic Asden shock mount here. And I do hear that when I tap on the pole. I'm actually getting less tapping noise, or at least it's not as many high frequencies when I tap it. Broom pole actually does a pretty good job of dampening noise on its own. I even tried with heftier shock mounts and got similar results. I'm rubbing my hands on it. I don't really hear that. I can hear little taps and things. I think the shock mount might be doing a fair amount to get rid of that sound. XLR cable dancing around against the pole. But again, I think the shock mount is doing a fair amount to stop the sound. I'm not hearing anything that gives either pole an edge in this competition. So who's taking home the cheap thing versus expensive thing title? After careful consideration, I think I'm gonna go with the cheap thing. The broom pole has served me well over these years, and except for shoots like this, the audience usually doesn't get to see what you're working with. Now, granted, I can't always bring a broom pole to set. If you're doing this professionally, you probably do need a nice K-Tec boom pole, so you look the part. I remember I was kind of nervous once. I took a broom pole on set with William Shatner, and I worried that someone was gonna say something like, "You're not a legit filmmaker." But for the kind of work I do, I think I could get away with this, and you may be able to use this DIY solution as well. Thanks for watching Cheap Thing versus Expensive Thing. Let me know in the comments what cheap tricks or expensive gear you use to capture audio, and I'll see you next time.